you so much. If you would, please answer yea or nay as the city clerk calls your name.
Alderman Moreland.
Yay.
Alderman Rupp.
Yay.
Alderman Brooks.
Yay.
Alderman Beatty.
Yay.
Alderman Sistrunk.
Yay.
Vice Mayor Perkins.
Yay.
Alderman Vaughn.
Yay.
All right, it is unanimous. Mr. Hamlin, the next item, please.
Yes, this is SC 24-03. This is a request by Dan Kent Family Real Estate for a special exception for a duplex at 320 and a half Scale Street in a TN-E. And again, this is the property that's directly next door to the previous request. The applicant, again, is proposing to remove the existing structure and replace it with a duplex with parking in the rear. This was noticed in accordance with UDC, 13 property owners of record within 160 feet were noticed directly by mail. And a legal ad was published in Starkville Daily News on April 25th, 2024, and a sign on the property. And as of this date, the planning officer received one phone call against and two in support. And again, here's the image showing the one on the right. They're basically going to mirror each other as the concept. And then there are the 8 criteria for review and approval. And the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended unanimously for approval of this.
Okay. And I presume the against was the same issue. All right.
Same phone call, yes.
Yes, okay, thank you. All right, any questions of Mr. Haviland? Okay, none. Anything to add, Mr. Camp? All right, same as before. All right, then I will open it as a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak either for or against this particular item, now would be the opportunity as a public hearing. Seeing none, I will close it as a public hearing, and if there are no further questions, I'll entertain a motion. Alderman Vaughn, I have a motion to approve. Second?
Second.
I heard Alderman Sistrunk. All right, then, if you would please answer yea or nay as the city clerk calls your name.
Alderman Moreland.
Yay.
Alderman Rupp.
Yay.
Alderman Brooks.
Yay.
Alderman Beatty.
Yay.
Alderman Sistrunk.
Yay.
Vice Mayor Perkins.
Yay.
Alderman Vaughn.
Yay.
It is unanimous. Thank you very much. All right, y'all can go to Orange Beach. Have fun. All right, next public hearing.
Yeah, this is SC 24-04. This is a request by JBK Properties LLC to allow for an accessory dwelling unit at 201 Herbert Street in a TN-E zoning district. This is the property that's located on the corner of College View and Herbert Street. It's the house that's right there. The applicant is seeking approval to construct an accessory dwelling unit above a proposed garage. The structure would be located north of the existing house and connected by a covered walkway. It's a proposed one-bedroom unit that is approximately 575 square feet. So here, the striped area is the existing house. The orange is a proposed garage with the garage apartment. And then to the west is currently a vacant lot. They're just showing their plans for the whole area because they own these 3 lots, and they'll eventually have a house built on that corner. And these are just some elevations showing the proposed structure with the garage on the bottom and then the apartment up on the top. And this is just kind of a basic site plan showing how they might lay out the driveway. Again, none of this stuff has been permitted or set in stone. It's just very conceptual. This was noticed in accordance with the UDC. 13 property owners of record within 160 feet were notified directly by mail. And a legal ad was published in Starkville Daily News on April 26, 2024, and a sign posted on the property. And as of this date, the planning officer received 1 email supporting the request, and that should be attachment 4 in the staff report. And again, the same criteria apply to this one. And the Planning and Zoning Commission voted unanimously to recommend approval of this item also.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of Mr. Haviland? All right, seeing none, the applicant is here. Holland, anything to add? No? All right, okay. Any questions of the applicant? Okay, thank you. In that case, I will open it as a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to this particular item on the agenda now would be the opportunity, either for or against. All right, seeing none, I will close it as a public hearing. If there is no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
I have a motion from Alderman Rupp. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Beatty. If you would, please answer yea or nay as the city clerk calls your name.
Alderman Moreland.
Yay.
Alderman Rupp.
Yay.
Alderman Brooks.
Yay.
Alderman Beatty.
Yay.
Alderman Sistrunk.
Yay.
Vice Mayor Perkins.
Yay.
Alderman Vaughn.
Yay.
All right, it is unanimous. Thank you so much. And last but not least, the first public hearing on amending the UDC.
This is kind of become almost an annual event, the kind of major update improvement to the UDC. So this time around, we were proposing 41 separate changes. Those changes can kind of be loosely put into 7 different categories.
I need a magnifying glass on this one.
Well, that's just showing it the
No,
whole
I'm,
thing.
I'm
It'll get
kidding,
there.
yes, go ahead, sorry.
So one of the first changes that's highlighted in pink up there is some updates to the Historic Preservation Commission. We're going to take the commission membership down from 7 to 5. We've contacted MDAH and they're okay with that. As long as it's approved by y'all, they're fine with it. And they were also going to remove routine maintenance from being required to have a certificate of appropriateness. If it's something routine that they can provide the documentation to staff, then they can just move forward with it.
And is there a definition of routine? I mean, is a new roof routine maintenance?
That's why the section in green is so
Gotcha.
wordy.
Okay.
Is to catch all that stuff.
Okay.
And that came directly out of the supporting document that was used to help create historic preservation.
Okay, Alderman Vaughn?
Now, why they taking it down from 7 to 5?
We were actually having a hard time filling it and then a hard time getting active members. So by bringing it to 5, I think we can get 5 individuals who are a lot more active and have a quorum more often. Last year, I believe there was probably 4 times that we failed to meet a quorum. So this is an attempt to try to fix that issue.
Thank you.
And then the next part, which is sort of a big thing, is code enforcement. It's an update to that section, and I'm going to let Mr. McCaskey kind of dive into this one.
That looks like a McCaskey diagram.
All right. Fortunately, this will be brief, and of course, I'm more than willing to answer any questions on it. So earlier this year, before I get into that lovely diagram, earlier this year I put together a series of training PowerPoints for code enforcement, and during that process of putting those together, that training documentation, I noticed that our current process could benefit from further clarification and reorganization. Some of the key areas we looked at for improving in this revision was defining and expanding responsible parties for violations. Currently, we kind of just can target property owners, but we have a lot of different violations that we could benefit from actually interacting maybe when we are able to work with like a business owner or a tenant that is maybe seen putting their trash out on improper days. But beyond that, defining what actions are taken by code enforcement. As you can see on the chart on the left-hand side, which is also kind of hard to read from here, you can, when you're reaching out in a violation, there's a few different methods that are currently listed as far as doing a written notice, a mailed notice, a verbal notice. It can be kind of confusing. So one of the things we looked at doing was just simplifying it down to making it to where there is just one form of notification that is made, and that way it's documented in the system and we move forward. The other thing was to provide case types with steps that promote consistent code enforcement action. On the left-hand side is the current process, right, is the new. On the left-hand side, you would find yourself going between different actions and trying to choose the appropriate one, whereas the new section actually provides you with case types that you then follow directly, depending on the type of action. So as we're before something that was maybe 21-19-11, we were doing that in the same type of process that we'd almost look at a nuisance. And that's not appropriate, so a more defined process is appropriate. And the other, number 4, was to consolidate code enforcement processes. Currently in the UDC, we have code enforcement processes in a few different sections, and we wanted to make sure that it all only referred back to 319.2, both for citizens to reference and also for our internal staff to be able to always reference to one sole source for actions to be taken. And then the last item was to clarify the purpose of some cases, remove similar terms such as you see where it says property owner in the circle, the different types of notices that are made. So instead, having one type of notice that is made and a clear definition of how that notice is to be made, that way we can accurately track how we're getting in contact with appropriate owners. I'm open to any questions.
And you worked with code enforcement on this when you were creating?
Yes.
You've had those conversations?
Yes, we did have a session with code enforcement where we got together at City Hall upstairs, and we pulled up the entire process and talked about how it would be easier and took feedback on.
Okay, I see the Chief Rose here, which makes me think that he has something he wishes to add.
No, Mayor, I was trying to get a look at the processes concerning code enforcement and things.
Okay, so we will need to make sure code enforcement shares that with you, Chief.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Any questions of Mr. McCaskey?
No, ma'am, I think the chart, I would like to request a copy.
Of course, of course. All right, any, board members, any questions of Mr. Alderman Sistrunk?
So, aside from simplifying the process and making it a lot clearer for everybody, from residents to code enforcement officers to the Board of Aldermen, it also looks like it will speed the process up in a lot of cases so that action is much more timely in addressing a problem?
Yes. Before, it could have been interpreted a few different ways on how to go about approaching a problem, but through the experience we've had in the last, I can only really speak about the last 3-4 years I've been with the city, encountering things like 21-1911 and nuisance issues. This has provided us an opportunity to basically say, hey, in our experience, this has been more appropriate to not elongate a problem over 2 months, just getting a notice out, and instead, if it is something that can be addressed more quickly, then that we're able to do that within our own rule set. Yes, it will allow us, in particular cases, to speed up the process.
Anything else?
One of the big differences is that in the due process, you're going to immediately issue a written notice of violation. And so that's where it starts the clock immediately. Whereas before, we had a courtesy notice, which would kind of zigzag all around through the process and maybe never actually start the clock on it. So by doing the written notice, it starts the violation, gets it put into the system, then we can track it from there on out. So it kind of speeds it up in that sense.
Anything else, Alderman Sistrunk?
No, ma'am.
All right, anyone else? Chief?
Yes, ma'am, can I add to that?
Yes, sir.
I think that it is important, and I appreciate it. I know Gabriel Steenwick, one of our new code enforcements, came up with a really good form that was a written documentation for people to check the code board. And again, most of what we run into for code enforcement is lack of education. Just most people have to refer. So education is a huge component of that, and I really, really would like for it to have an ability there for education, warn, and enforce. There are a lot of dynamics there where people just simply don't know, and maybe that one could apply for both, where they can check the code enforcement, scan code, reference the material to where there's a little bit of a step up rather than an immediate, write up, go to enforcement, depending upon the situation.
Right, well, I think that's probably some measure of discretion, but I also know that we've got a number of folks who have been repeat offenders from one year to the next year to the next year with such things as mowing and that sort of thing. So I think education is certainly important, but I think we've got some folks out there who are quite knowledgeable about it and just have trouble getting it done. So, yes. Okay. Anything else? Anyone else? All right, I need to open it as a public hearing. I'm sorry, I apologize. Yeah, sorry about that. I was thinking it was last but not least with the code enforcement.
The next category is focusing on some of the use standards that require special exception. Sometimes those uses fall into a residential neighborhood, which makes it kind of convoluted on their setbacks, their development criteria, like how the parking lot's built. So this is just a clarification for all the different uses that could possibly fall in a residential zone with a special exception. Next, we have 3 different categories. The first one's about sidewalks. We're doing like a variation on the current sidewalks to where if there's an existing sidewalk and you trigger site plan, if that sidewalk width is within, I think it's 1.5 feet of what's required, as long as it meets ADA, you don't have to rip it up and replace it.
That would be the church, the Bridgeway Church issue that we ran into.
Correct. And we've ran into that issue in a couple places.
Yeah.
When it's a sidewalk that's in a certain spot that's not crucial to be 5 foot,
Yeah.
it's appropriate for it to be 4.5 feet, for instance. The second part is bringing back what we had discussed last year, was getting rid of the sidewalk development zone. I know those are really small, they're bigger than Hackett. Development zone map that just requires sidewalks from property line to property line, even if it's on the corner, even if the secondary street doesn't serve anything. So it's going from that to more of a street-by-street based map, where each street requires a specific type of sidewalks. Some streets don't require any sidewalks. The next little set is replacing the current mowing standards. We're sort of, the deleting it and then add most of it back, and then adding vegetative standards. So the mowing standards for the most part stay the same. The vegetative standards are going to be addressing stuff like any kind of landscape that's approved by site plan, making sure it's maintained and kept up. Any dangerous trees that are, a danger to adjacent properties of the right of way is addressing that, and also visibility at intersections, like overgrown stuff at an intersection need to be removed or trimmed. The last little bit is part of the technical codes. This is where there's still a little bit of fire requirements that are kind of tucked away in the municipal code. So it's going to be removing those from municipal code, bring them over to the UDC. And so that's what most of these changes are, except for the bottom few, that's subcontractor requirements within the technical codes. And we'll be coming back, I think the first public hearing is in June for the municipal side to remove that section from municipal code. So it's tracking about 2 weeks behind this one. And then this is just the broad category of others. We're addressing stuff like removing the maximum lot width on lots in the form-based district. We control that by other means such as building width, so the lot width is kind of arbitrary at that point. And then also we're adding a new section on portable restroom facilities, porta potties. We're kind of regulating the time, place, manner of those. So like there's regulations related to special events, there'll be a regulation related to construction projects, and then one for temporary use. So temporary use would be if you're having Cinco de Mayo in your parking lot, you need the facilities for just a short period of time. That would be a temporary use, permit required, a certain number of days and a certain number of periods. Very similar to like a banner permit.
But they're not allowed to remain.
They're not allowed to be used permanently.
Permanent, yes.
The other section that's up here is wall signs. We've had a couple variances come through. Walmart, I think, was the last one, where the front of the building is more than 250 or 200 feet from a main road, but it's next to an adjacent road that you can't even see the sign from, so they weren't allowed to increase the size of the sign. We actually have a variance that's coming through next meeting on the same issue, but their variance will track faster than this. That's why they didn't hold off. And so this will allow you to take advantage of increasing the square footage if the sign's not visible from that adjacent road. The way we're using the code now, it's just the nearest adjacent road. So it's just kind of fixing that. Other things we're adding the tree protection for designated water course protection. That's already a term and requirements that are in our code, and it's just kind of strengthening that and adding a little more verbiage to it. And very little stuff, we're changing erosion control from fencing from wood stakes to steel. Very minor sounding thing, but it has a big impact on keeping mud out of the road. And then just adjusting a lot of the definitions for code enforcement and then for surety that's in our code. If there are any questions.
Okay, so let's go back to the tree. Is this like our trees that we've got a dead one that's leaning against another one and we're...
If it's a danger to the adjacent property
Yep.
or to the right of way or anything like that, then that gives us a mode of action to take.
Okay, all right, that's what I was thinking it was, because we have several of those around town.
Yes.
But they're a little problematic. Any questions of Mr. Haviland about the presentation or any of those items? All right, seeing none, I will open it as a public hearing now. Anyone wishing to speak to any of these particular items, this is our first public hearing. We'll be having a second one next time around, at which point in time it will be an opportunity for us to actually adopt these changes. So I would certainly recommend that if anyone wants to, that they pull up the website and take a look at the changes that should be in the packet. All right, anyone wishing to speak to this item now would be the time, either for or against. All right, seeing none, I will close it as a public hearing, and that requires no further action from us at this time. Thank you, Mr. Haviland and Mr. McCaskey. We appreciate your time and your presentation. Next, and I believe the last item on the agenda is the claims docket. Do I have a motion?
Move approval.
I have a motion from Alderman Sistrunk. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Moreland. If you would, please answer yea or nay as the city clerk calls your name.
Alderman Moreland. Yay. Alderman Rupp.
Yay.
Alderman Brooks. Alderman Beatty.
Yay.
Alderman Sistrunk.
Yay.
Vice Mayor Perkins.
Nay.
Alderman Bond.
Nay.
All right, by a vote of 5-2, the motion carries. That takes us to the end of the agenda, and if you would be so kind to allow me to call for a work session. And in accordance with the notices required under Mississippi Code annotated 254113, the board will have a work session on Friday, the 31st of May, 2024 at 11 a.m. That meeting will be held at City Hall on the second floor conference room located at 110 West Main. The notice should be provided of this work session within 1 hour of this meeting by posting such notice at City Hall. The notice should be made a part of the minutes of the board meeting, and the work session will be an open public meeting of the city of Starkville, and the public and press are invited to attend. Could I get a motion to adjourn, please?
Make a motion.
I have a motion from Alderman Moreland, and a second from Alderman Vaughn. All right, thank you so much. If you would answer yea or nay as the city clerk calls your name.
Alderman Moreland.
Yay.
Alderman Rupp.
Yay.
Alderman Brooks.
Yay.
Alderman Beatty.
Yay.
Alderman Sistrunk.
Yay.
Vice Mayor Perkins.
Yay.
Alderman Vaughn.
Yay.
All right, it is unanimous. We are in adjournment, and yay always sounds like yay.
I know, but